Have you ever warmed up last night's dinner thinking you were doing the right thing? What if I told you that some of the most common leftovers in your fridge, like spinach, potatoes, or even eggs, can quietly turn toxic when reheated, triggering harmful compounds linked to cancer, dementia, and digestive distress? It's not scare tactics, it's science. In this video, we're uncovering 5 everyday foods that doctors and researchers say should never be reheated. And once you know why, you'll never look at leftovers the same way again. Spinach is often celebrated as a superfood, and rightly so. It's packed with vitamins A, C, and K, rich in iron and antioxidants, and often seen as a safe choice for boosting health. But here's the twist. When this leafy green is reheated, it may quietly change its chemistry in ways that work against your body, not for it. What makes spinach special is also what makes it risky when handled the wrong way: its high nitrate content. In its natural form, these nitrates are actually good for you. They help with circulation, lower blood pressure, and even enhance physical performance. But when cooked spinach is stored and then reheated, particularly in a microwave or at high heat, those beneficial nitrates can morph into nitrites. And from there, it gets more concerning. Nitrites can break down further into nitrosamines, a class of compounds that researchers have linked to cancer and neurological problems. These harmful byproducts are invisible. You can't smell them, you can't taste them, and they don't change the appearance of your food. That's what makes them so sneaky. You could be doing something that feels healthy while quietly putting stress on your digestive system, your nervous system, and over time, even your brain. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and cited by organizations like the World Health Organization have shown that nitrosamines are associated with an increased risk of cancers in the stomach and colon. But even more unsettling, especially for older adults, is the growing evidence that they may also contribute to cognitive decline. You see, as we age, our body becomes more sensitive to toxins and less efficient at filtering them out. What might be a minor inconvenience in your 30s or 40s could have a more lasting effect in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Inflammation triggered by compounds like nitrosamines has been linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other forms of neurodegeneration. And that spinach you lovingly added to your homemade soup. If reheated, it may be quietly fueling the wrong kind of brain activity. Let's take a common scenario. You make a big pot of vegetable soup on Sunday, thinking it'll be perfect for quick meals throughout the week. On Tuesday, you reheat a bowl in the microwave. The flavor's still there. It tastes fresh. But chemically, that spinach has gone through a change, and not a good one. It's now carrying trace compounds that, with repeated exposure, may build up and trigger long-term health consequences. So what should you do? Do you need to give up spinach altogether? Not at all. Spinach is still a nutritional powerhouse when it's fresh or lightly cooked and eaten right away. The key is how you prepare and store it. If you have leftovers with spinach, try enjoying them cold. Think spinach salads or chilled soups. If you must reheat, use a gentle stovetop method rather than blasting it in the microwave. These small adjustments matter. For seniors focused on energy, brain health, and staying vibrant into the later years, avoiding toxic reheating habits is a smart and simple upgrade. After all, it's not about cutting out good foods. It's about knowing how to use them in ways that serve your health, not sabotage it. Potatoes are a comfort food staple, mashed, roasted, baked, or fried. They're on plates around the world every day. They're filling, budget-friendly, and packed with potassium, fiber, and vitamin C. But here's the part that rarely gets talked about. When potatoes are cooked, cooled, stored, and reheated, they can undergo changes that turn this comfort food into a potential health hazard, particularly for older adults. It starts with a process called retrogradation. When potatoes are first cooked, their starches break down into forms your body can easily digest. But when those same potatoes cool, especially if left out too long or stored in the fridge, the starches reorganize into something called resistant starch. On its own, resistant starch isn't necessarily bad. In fact, it can support gut health in moderation. But once those cooled potatoes are reheated, especially in a microwave, the game changes. Why? Because of a bacteria called Clostridium botulinum, the same one responsible for botulism, a rare but dangerous illness. If cooked potatoes are wrapped in foil and left to cool slowly, it creates a perfect environment for this bacteria to grow. And the worst part, it doesn't change the smell, taste, or look of the food. You could eat something that feels completely safe, while unknowingly consuming dangerous bacterial toxins that affect your nervous system and gut health. For younger, healthy adults, exposure might go unnoticed, but for seniors, whose digestive and immune systems are naturally less resilient, these toxins can quietly trigger inflammation, gut disturbances, and in the long run, cognitive decline. Research in Frontiers in Neuroscience points to a growing link between gut health and brain health. What starts in the stomach doesn't stay there. The gut and brain are connected through the gut-brain axis, meaning a problem in your digestion can echo in your memory, clarity, and mood. Let's walk through a real-life example. You roast a tray of potatoes for Sunday dinner. You wrap the extras in foil and toss them in the fridge. On Wednesday, you reheat them in the microwave for a quick side dish. They're soft, still flavorful, and you think you've made a smart, waste-free choice. But if those potatoes weren't cooled properly, or if they sat out too long before being refrigerated, you may have just reactivated dormant bacteria. And every time you repeat that process, you increase your exposure to compounds that quietly strain your gut and immune defenses. What can you do to stay safe? It's simpler than you think. First, skip the foil when storing leftovers. Foil traps moisture and limits airflow, which is exactly what bacteria like Clostridium need to thrive. Instead, use airtight glass containers. Cool cooked potatoes quickly. Don't let them sit out for hours, and store them in the fridge as soon as possible. When reheating, avoid microwaves if you can. Use an oven or stovetop to ensure even heating that brings the temperature up safely. And here's something most people miss. Never reheat potatoes more than once. If they've been sitting in the fridge for a couple of days, or you're unsure about their storage, it's safer to toss them. Your gut and brain are worth far more than saving a side dish. For seniors who are already paying attention to their memory, digestion, and overall wellness, understanding how food handling affects health is just as important as the food itself. You don't have to give up potatoes, you just have to treat them right, from the moment they leave the oven to the moment they hit your plate again. Eggs are often hailed as the perfect food. Affordable, packed with protein, rich in brain-boosting nutrients like choline, and easy to cook in dozens of ways. For many seniors, they're a breakfast go-to or a quick protein fix throughout the day. But there's one common habit that could be turning this healthy choice into a hidden hazard: reheating cooked eggs, especially in the microwave. Here's what most people don't realize. Eggs are incredibly sensitive to heat. When they're cooked the first time, the proteins go through a process called denaturation. That simply means they change shape in a way that makes them easier for your body to digest. But when those same eggs are reheated, especially using high or uneven heat, the proteins break down again, this time in a way that can make them tougher, less digestible, and potentially inflammatory. But the bigger concern: cholesterol oxidation. The yolk of an egg is naturally high in cholesterol, and when exposed to intense reheating, that cholesterol can oxidize. The result? Compounds called oxysterols, which are linked in numerous studies to chronic inflammation, cardiovascular strain, and even neurological decline. According to research published in the Journal of Lipid Research, these oxidized compounds can quietly build up in your system, contributing to a kind of low-grade inflammation that wears on your body over time. And for seniors, that's no small matter. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to inflammatory stress. Our arteries are less elastic. Our brains are more vulnerable to oxidative damage. That's why even a seemingly harmless routine, like reheating a hard-boiled egg in the microwave, can have a ripple effect on energy, mood, and long-term cognitive health. Picture this. You hard-boil a dozen eggs on Sunday to stay ahead of the week. On Wednesday, you grab one, pop it in the microwave for 20 seconds, and eat it warm. Quick, easy, healthy, right? Maybe not. The egg's cholesterol may have oxidized. The texture's a little rubbery, maybe the flavor's off. And inside your body, it's now delivering compounds that may silently contribute to inflammation, especially if this habit repeats week after week, month after month. So how can you enjoy eggs without the risk? The good news is simple: eat them fresh or cold. Hard-boiled eggs are perfectly safe to enjoy chilled, in salads, sandwiches, or on their own. If you really want them warm, reheat gently using a stovetop method with low heat and a splash of water to protect the proteins. Avoid the microwave, and definitely avoid multiple rounds of reheating. Also, be mindful of storage. Cooked eggs should be kept in the fridge and eaten within a few days. If they smell slightly off, feel unusually rubbery, or show discoloration, don't second guess, just toss them. Eggs still deserve a place on your plate, but like many good things, it's not just what you eat, it's how you treat it. With just a bit of care, eggs can continue to support your energy, memory, and overall well-being, without becoming a silent source of internal stress. Because at this stage of life, every choice that reduces inflammation is a step toward more vitality and mental clarity. Chicken is a superstar in healthy diets everywhere. Lean, high in protein, low in fat. It's one of the most recommended foods for anyone trying to stay fit, strong, and energized. And if you're like most people, you probably batch cook it. Bake or grill a few breasts on Sunday, store them in the fridge, and reheat throughout the week. It's smart, efficient. But here's the twist. Reheating chicken the wrong way might be doing more harm than good, especially for seniors. You see, when chicken is cooked the first time, its proteins go through a change that makes them easier to digest. But when you reheat it, especially in a microwave or at high temperatures, those proteins don't stay stable. They transform again, becoming tougher, denser, and harder for your digestive system to break down. For younger adults, this might not make much of a difference, but for seniors, whose stomach acid and digestive enzymes naturally decline with age, that tougher protein can sit heavier in the gut, leading to bloating, discomfort, and a quiet sense of fatigue after eating. But the real issue goes beyond digestion. When chicken is reheated, especially more than once or using uneven heat, it can produce compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are chemical byproducts that form when proteins and fats are exposed to high heat, particularly in dry cooking methods like roasting, grilling, or yes, reheating. And AGEs are no small thing. They've been linked in studies to chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, stiffening of arteries, and even the onset of neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. It's like adding fuel to a slow-burning fire inside the body, one you may not feel immediately, but one that wears down your system over time. Let's ground this in a scenario. Say you make a batch of grilled chicken Sunday night. By Tuesday, you're in a rush and zap a piece in the microwave. It smells fine, looks okay, maybe tastes a little rubbery. You shrug it off. But what's happened chemically? The protein structure has changed. AGEs may have formed. Your body now has to work harder to digest something that used to be clean and easy. And that effort drains energy and fuels low-grade inflammation. So what's the better way? First, if you're going to reheat chicken, do it gently. Use the stovetop with a splash of water or broth. Better yet, incorporate leftover chicken into cold dishes, like salads or lettuce wraps. When the protein stays intact, your body benefits more, and you avoid triggering those harmful compounds. Also, be mindful of how long chicken sits in the fridge. It's best to eat it within 2 to 3 days, and never reheat it more than once. If it's been microwaved yesterday, don't zap it again today. That second round of heat only amplifies the structural breakdown and chemical changes that make digestion tougher and inflammation more likely. For seniors focused on maintaining strength, clarity, and stamina, these details matter. It's not just about what's on your plate, it's about how your body processes it. By handling chicken with care and avoiding harsh reheating, you're making a small but powerful upgrade to your long-term vitality. After all, your food should give you energy, not quietly take it away. Mushrooms are often seen as one of the healthiest ingredients on your plate. Rich in fiber, antioxidants, B vitamins, and compounds like beta-glucans that boost immunity. They've earned their reputation as a nutritional powerhouse. Whether you're tossing cremini into a stir-fry, grilling portobellos, or folding shiitake into a soup, mushrooms add depth and benefits. But what many don't realize is that mushrooms are extremely sensitive to heat, and even more so to reheating. When mushrooms are cooked fresh, their delicate structure, made up of proteins, enzymes, and unsaturated fats, breaks down in a way that makes their nutrients easier for your body to absorb. But when you reheat them, particularly using high heat or a microwave, those same components begin to break down even further, often forming compounds that are harder to digest and potentially damaging at the cellular level. The result? What was once a light, nourishing food can become dense, rubbery, and taxing on your digestive system. For younger adults, this might show up as mild bloating or discomfort. But for older adults, whose enzyme production and gut motility have naturally slowed with age, these reheated mushrooms can lead to digestive stress, fatigue, and even subtle inflammation that accumulates over time. But it doesn't stop there. One of the biggest concerns with reheated mushrooms is something called oxidative stress. This happens when proteins and fats in the mushrooms oxidize, a process that can happen during reheating or improper storage, like when leftovers are kept in plastic containers where moisture collects. Oxidized compounds in food may not be visible or smell different, but your body can feel their impact. When consumed repeatedly, they increase the number of free radicals in your system, tiny unstable molecules that damage cells, speed up aging, and contribute to a long list of chronic conditions, including heart disease, inflammation, and yes, cognitive decline. For seniors already managing chronic inflammation or fatigue, these microscopic assaults can make a noticeable difference in how you feel day to day. Imagine this. You make a beautiful mushroom risotto on Monday night. You store the leftovers in the fridge, sealed in a plastic container. On Wednesday, you reheat a portion in the microwave. The texture feels off, rubbery or a bit slimy. The flavor's muted. What you're tasting isn't just old food. It's the breakdown of nutrients and the rise of compounds your body may now struggle to process. And if this becomes a regular habit, those small digestive stresses can start to stack up into bigger health concerns. So, how do you still enjoy mushrooms safely? First, if you're cooking mushrooms, only prepare what you'll eat fresh when possible. If you have leftovers, store them in glass containers, not plastic, to reduce moisture buildup. When reheating, avoid the microwave. Instead, use low heat on the stove, ideally with a little added moisture like olive oil or broth. Better yet, enjoy mushrooms cold the next day. Toss them into a salad or grain bowl. Their rich, earthy flavor holds up well, and your body will thank you for avoiding the stress of reheating. These adjustments may seem small, but they make a real difference, especially when they become part of your daily rhythm. For older adults striving to protect their digestion, immunity, and cognitive function, minimizing oxidative stress from food is a powerful and overlooked step. Because the truth is, it's not just the ingredients that matter, it's what happens after they're cooked. And by being just a little more mindful, you turn everyday meals into lasting fuel for your vitality, clarity, and strength. By now you've likely realized that the biggest danger in your kitchen isn't always what you eat, but how you reheat it. Spinach, potatoes, eggs, chicken, mushrooms. These foods aren't the villains. They're nutritious, healing, and energizing when handled right. But the moment heat is reintroduced in the wrong way, their chemistry changes. Slowly, quietly, invisibly. And it's not just about digestion. These changes ripple through your body, fueling inflammation, disrupting brain function, and over time, draining energy you didn't even know you were losing. That vague fog in the morning, the sluggish afternoons, the memory lapses you brush off as just aging. What if part of that story starts with what's on your plate and how it got there? Food is one of the few things we can still fully control. It's daily, it's intimate, and it's powerful. Especially as we age, the margin for error shrinks, but so does the need for drastic overhauls. You don't need a radical diet shift, just smarter choices. A gentler stovetop reheat, a glass container instead of plastic, cold meals instead of nuked leftovers, tiny changes, big protection. So here's the question only you can answer. Which of these habits are quietly working against you, and which one will you change first? Because your next bite might not just be about filling your stomach. It could be a vote for your clarity, your energy, your longevity, and tomorrow's sharp mind might just begin with tonight's dinner.